Am I the asshole here for refusing to continue providing free childcare for my stepdaughter? I did a work program with the local clerk of court's office when I was in high school. They hired me when I graduated, and I had my 30 service years before I turned 50. With 30 service years, you can get your full pension at any age. I worked until my first grandchild was born, then I retired to be grandma daycare. I have 5 grandkids, 8 male from my stepson, 7 male from my son, 5 female, and 18-month male from my daughter. I babysat all of them with no issues or complaints. I still keep the 18-month-old on Monday to Friday and the older ones on summer and school holidays. My stepdaughter and her boyfriend have been non-stop drama since before the baby was born. When she was 10 weeks pregnant, they presented a 3-page list of rules for when I was babysitting. They said that if I didn't sign it, they wouldn't allow me to babysit. I said that I understood their need to do what was best for their baby and assured them that there would be no hurt feelings on my end when they made other childcare arrangements. Some of the rules were almost understandable, but most were downright ridiculous, and none of it was going to work for me. I don't remember them all, but some examples are: I can't take the baby anywhere without their permission. I can't watch more than 1 additional child while babysitting. I can't cook. I had to provide the full name, date of birth, and address of any potential visitors ahead of time for their approval of the person being around their child. They have to know anytime I have a guest over and know who it is and how long they stay. My 9-year-old cat would have to be kept out of rooms where the baby would be, even when the baby wasn't there. I couldn't get another pet without their agreement. When she was 7 months along, they came back with revised rules in an attempt to compromise. I again let them know that their expectations were not going to fit with my life, and they should just find other childcare. 2 days after my stepdaughter went back to work, she called and asked if I could keep Cullen the next day. I agreed, but made it clear that I was going to provide safe, appropriate care according to my judgment, and I wasn't going to deal with complaints or whatever that I was violating their rules, because I wanted to make it very clear that I was not agreeing to any of that. My stepdaughter was okay on the day that she picked Cullen up and dropped him off. I felt like she was interrogating me every time she picked him up, but it was tolerable, but her boyfriend was downright rude. I got to the point where I actually spent Sunday dreading the start of the week because of dealing with both of them, but especially his behavior. At minimum, he would pick up Cullen, make a big deal of partially undressing him, make at least one snide comment about my cat, or if I had any grandchild over besides the 18-month-old, or if I had cooked or whatever. Then he would say, "I guess we don't have any choice but to put up with this for now," or "I guess you're happy that you won." This went on for 4 months. I spoke to my stepdaughter several times about it and told her that obviously they are very unhappy with how I cared for Cullen and that they should really work on finding something else, and that in the meantime, he needed to be less vocal about it. It would get better for a day or 2, and then he would start again. It all came to a head as Thanksgiving was approaching. He was very verbal about the fact that he didn't want me to keep all of my grandchildren over the break. I made it very clear that there would be a couple of days that I had all of them and that they needed to make other arrangements if they had a problem. They didn't make other arrangements, and when he picked Cullen up on the first day that I had all my grandkids, he was very rude. And although nothing happened, everyone was happy, clean, fed, had a great day. He said to Cullen that he was sorry that they had no choice except to leave him in an unsafe situation to be neglected. I called my stepdaughter that night, relayed to her what was said, and told her that she had 2 weeks to make other arrangements, and that she needed to drop off and pick up Cullen during those 2 weeks, and if her boyfriend came to drop him off, I would refuse to keep him, and if he picked him up, I would not keep him again. So things were better only dealing with her. At some point, she asked me if I would keep him until January because they found someone, but he couldn't start until then. I agreed. She picked up Cullen and dropped him off, and everything was fine. On New Year's Day, several people sent me a screenshot of a post that her boyfriend made on social media about how thankful he was that they were finally able to leave Cullen without worrying about his safety or him being neglected. He didn't outright name me or accuse me of anything specific, but anyone who knows us knows I was keeping him, and the post implied plenty. I was just happy that it was over. On Friday, she called me and said that their new childcare provider had told her that Cullen wasn't a good fit and that she couldn't bring him back on Monday. She asked if I would start keeping him again. I told her that I was sorry for their situation, but I really don't feel comfortable keeping him. My husband and stepson both think that I should watch Cullen under the agreement that Amanda drop him off and pick him up because they think that her boyfriend is the big problem and that I should just do it for Cullen's sake. My stepson also commented that I would probably be more willing to let it go if it had been a conflict with my daughter's husband. My pension is about $4,000 per month, plus continuation of my health insurance. That's about 40% of our take-home income, if that matters. Am I the asshole here for refusing to watch Cullen again? In the comments, BrilliantAd8719 says, "Baby daddy has a real problem. That's a very controlling behavior there. He also may have a distorted view of you if your stepdaughter has complained about her evil stepmother before the baby. Until she needed you, that is. Giving 20 to 1 that it's the father who isn't a good fit for the new childcare. Bet that he went on a dictatorial bender once he was paying and thought that meant he could demand anything that he wanted. Not the asshole. No. You shouldn't put yourself through this for Cullen's sake. Cullen will get cared for regardless. There is no need for you to set yourself on fire because your stepdaughter and her boyfriend can't behave like normal human beings. Your husband and stepson are welcome to offer free childcare and put up with this treatment if it's important to them. But you've done your time. Learn from that experience and don't let yourself be put in the same situation again." Well, there's a reason the licensed daycare won't keep him. It's the boyfriend. The liability alone would make me pause. He could ruin your lives. Especially after that Facebook post. No way. Yeah, I'm on board with everyone else for this one. It was definitely him. He's such a gigantic piece of shit that I would just refuse the childcare so I never have to see him again. If it's so important to them that Cullen gets the right amount of care and doesn't get mistreated, why don't one of them step down from their jobs and look after Cullen until he can go to school? That seems like they could guarantee he gets a proper upbringing then. Screw those guys and do not give them any inch in this situation, OP. Keep denying them. Not the asshole. And now, onto the update, one day later. First, let me just address the common suggestion that Amanda's boyfriend is purposely sabotaging their childcare to trap her at home. They make roughly the same amount of money and definitely can't afford to lose their income. I seriously doubt that he wants her to stay home. Second, I would never tell my stepson to find someone else to watch his child because of a simple difference of opinion. My grandson and I have a very close bond. He's the oldest, and it would break my heart and his if he didn't come spend his holidays and summers with me. Plus, he's a huge help with the little ones when I have them all and things get hectic. I would never be so petty as to make him, and all of my other grandchildren, suffer because of an adult disagreement. So I sort of asked around about why they were dropped by their new sitter so quickly. Apparently they weren't. Amanda picked up Cullen and dropped him off both days he went, and everything was lovely. He did cry quite a bit, but they expected that to get better as he adjusted to not being held as much. My husband and stepson talked to Amanda, and she said that they realized that they can't afford daycare. They already made the easy changes, like packing a lunch, giving up fancy coffee, etc., and his dad and her mum are both giving them about $100 per month towards childcare, and they can barely afford it. But they didn't realize that you have to send everything the baby needs. I buy diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, extra clothes, etc. They just hand me the baby. They didn't realize that daycare didn't cover all of that. Also, imagine her boyfriend's surprise when he found out what the staffing rates are in this very expensive daycare. One adult cares for 5 infants. I guess he thought that someone would provide one-on-one care, diapers, wipes, and formula for $350 per week. My stepson relayed their almost apology. They felt overwhelmed by an infant and couldn't imagine that someone else could manage that, plus other things. Cullen is going back to daycare tomorrow. Cullen's dad is selling his dirt bike, and Amanda is selling some designer clothes, handbags, and shoes to cover the cost. It'll get easier for them in 6 months when he transfers to the 1-year-old class, which is a little bit cheaper. In the comments, PinkBaby2024 says, I love how Amanda's boyfriend was shocked to find out that daycare isn't a magical babysitting fairyland. Newsflash, diapers don't grow on trees, buddy. I wonder if he is ever going to apologize for being an absolute idiot. What a moron. No, he'll likely get Amanda pregnant again inside a year because he literally cannot connect cause and effect, and neither can Amanda. Amanda and her boyfriend needed to realize that parenting comes with sacrifices. Yeah, I'm so glad that OP didn't back down on this one. Like, how thick can you be to not know all these things? That's just intentional ignorance at this point. Oh my god, I didn't realize that I have to pay for the necessities for my child. What do you mean, strangers should be paying for that? Strangers should be looking after my child and also paying for them. He was definitely treating OP like she was a stranger that cannot be trusted, that's for damn sure. Lesson learned for both Amanda and her stupid boyfriend. I don't want them to get the good graces of OP after this. They made the intentional choice to continue to bite the hand that feeds them. You know, it's not going to come back, and it shouldn't. Thank you, OP, for not backing down, and thank you for the story. Our next post is by user ThrowRA41, and it's titled, Really New Girlfriend, 27 female, invited me, 29 male, to go to Christmas. What are your thoughts? So I, 29 male, am an oops baby. Something that my family has constantly reminded me of since I was little because it's funny. My brother, 44, sister, 42, sister, 39, were all planned by our parents. I was the result of a drunken fun night on New Year's, according to my dad. I've never been close to my siblings due to the large age gap. My parents, while never mean, never went out of their way to show me the same love that my siblings get. At least that's how it always felt. For instance, when I was younger, I was in choir. I used to love to sing, but no one in the family ever came to see me sing. I was told that we are busy or we have other plans, so I gave up singing. But I remember them going to my other siblings' dance things. So I gave up on doing anything other than working on my computer and playing with my friends. I stick to just getting good with computers, and in doing so, ended up in a good job where I've been working for almost 10 years now. I started at the bottom of IT, and now I've worked up to being a manager for about 15 people. However, being in IT means that I have to occasionally miss out on family events, as well as some holidays, because where I work, it's 24/7 split into 12-hour shifts. Due to this, over the years, I've been accidentally forgotten to be invited because we figured that you were working without actually asking me. This has been a recurring issue with my family, forgetting to ask me to join them or making excuses as to why I wasn't invited. However, one thing I could always rely on was being able to show up on Christmas Eve. That's when we celebrate Christmas and still feel like I belonged, even if it was later into the evening. Most of the love that I felt came from my nieces, who always think of me as the cool uncle, and are always happy to see me. Happened to stop over at my folks yesterday, and while there, I saw my nieces. Folks tend to watch them on the weekends, that's a whole different story. But my nieces started asking if I was excited for Christmas, as we get to hang out in a cabin this year. I looked confused and asked my mum what they were talking about, and she looked obviously embarrassed and said everyone made plans back in June to celebrate in a rental cabin in Vermont for Christmas. Lol. I kid you not. She looked at me and said, "We all figured you had to work again and couldn't get time off, so everyone figured that you wouldn't mind missing one Christmas." Had they said something, I could have taken the time off. To say I was and am heartbroken is an understatement. Like, I get that I'm an oops baby and not really ever thought of much, if ever, but to just be left alone for Christmas on purpose, I mean, how does a family do that to someone? I just turned around, hugged my nieces goodbye, and left. Didn't even say goodbye to my mom. I pride myself on being a strong individual, especially on how my family has always treated me, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually cried on the way home. Never in my life have I ever felt so rejected, especially by people who were supposed to love me. I couldn't even ask her when they planned on telling me, or if they planned on telling me. What would happen if I showed up after work and no one was there? I just left. I probably should have, but I was hurting too much to really care at that moment. Now here's my dilemma. I have a new girlfriend, Zoe, 27 female, and by new, I mean we've only been going out and seeing each other since just after Thanksgiving. I sent her a text when I got home telling her what happened as I had to talk to someone. She kind of knows about my family, but being in such a new relationship, I didn't want to unload all of my baggage on her. But she does know that me and my family don't have a standard type relationship. Anyway, she's invited me to go with her to celebrate Christmas with her family. I haven't given her any answer yet. In previous relationships, we were together for months before the invite to Christmas ever came up. However, this is the first relationship where it's only been a few weeks. So, asking people of Reddit for their advice. Would going with Zoe to her families be a good idea? Being that this is so new, is there a potential downside? Would it be better to be gracious and thank her for the invite, but decline? Or accept the invite and go? By the way, I do have to work Christmas Eve again this year, but not Christmas Day. So that's a plus, I guess. In the comments, your family is full of terrible people, and your parents should be incredibly ashamed of themselves. What does the invitation from your girlfriend entail? Is this a multi-day stay with her family? Is it coming with her for half a day to her parents' house? What are we talking? And OP replies, yeah, my feelings about my family are mixed right now, 'cause you aren't wrong. But as far as my girlfriend, she said it would be like from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m.-ish. So like half a day, and they live just outside the city where we both live. So wouldn't be a far drive. I guess I don't want to seem like a pity case, even though I kind of am. I really like Zoe. She's smart and funny, and we both have the same interests. I just don't want to ruin a potentially good thing with my family drama. Well, the way that your family has been treating you since forever most probably skewed your sense of normalcy. It's not uncommon to invite non-romantic friends that are alone for Christmas, but you're more than that. Go, and don't feel like a pity case. Bring something for the hosts, and you'll be loved. If people ask you why aren't you with your family, keep it light and vague. Even, it's complicated, and if you don't mind, I prefer not to get into it right now. Let's focus on this joyful evening instead, is more than enough. And OP says, thanks for the advice. I was trying to think of what I would say if they ask. Your comment is a really good idea. I don't really see what the big deal is for OP here. Like, what is the alternative? Sitting at home by yourself on Christmas Eve and Christmas? You really don't have much of a choice. It's not like you're welcome at the family gathering in the cabin, so take what you can get at this point. Go and have a great time with your girlfriend's family. Yes, it's a bit early on. Yes, it's a bit weird, but like, it's better that and getting to meet them if you plan to be with her long term than staying alone for Christmas. I don't know. Your family definitely sucks ass, and I feel like in a situation like that, you slowly just get less and less involved in the lives of those you don't enjoy being around. Maybe those that you do enjoy and will make time for you, be more involved with them. And now, on to the update, 6 days later. First, thanks for those that commented on my first post. Wasn't really sure if I should go or not, but it was the best decision I ever made. When I told my girlfriend that I would love to go with her, she was really happy. I did what others suggested and bought a really nice bottle of wine for her family and a few gifts for my girlfriend. I expected a bit of awkwardness when we arrived, but none of that happened. When we arrived and I met her family, I was treated just like I belonged there. I had a great time, we had some really great food and played some games. And overall, it was a great experience and much different than any Christmas that I ever had with my family. Speaking of which, they/my mum called me while I was at my girlfriend's family's place. I don't think they were happy about it by the tone of her voice. When they called, we were in the middle of playing Pictionary, and everyone was having a great time. She asked where I was, and I told her. I wished her a Merry Christmas and hung up the phone, and then turned it off. I wasn't going to let her or them ruin a good time. When it was time to go, everyone thanked me for coming and said they hoped I had a good time. I don't think I could wipe the smile off of my face even if I wanted to. It was such a nice and loving group of people. I know this relationship is still super new, but the amount of love I received from my girlfriend and family really makes me hope that this works out. I've never felt in my whole life what I felt on Christmas. As someone posted on my first post, it felt like a Hallmark movie of sorts. I know it's just all the new feelings, but if anything, I've learned that I deserve more than what little my family gives me. Thanks again, everyone, for talking me into going. Best decision ever. In the comments, sounds like you had a great time. I'm glad you went. It also sounds like you may need to confront your parents and flatly tell them that what they're doing isn't right and find out why. I'm astonished as an oops baby that you were so neglected. It feels as though they aren't confronting some issue, which in turn puts you, an innocent and unwilling bystander, in the mix. Like not mention anything about Christmas for months? I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that you're an affair child, because they always seem to be the neglected ones. Good luck with the new relationship. Sounds like you have a keeper. Keep well and update us from time to time. Yours is a story that we want to cheer on and jeer your family because they suck. And OP replies, I was content on just reading and liking the comments here, but felt the need to respond to yours. I think the reason that I was so neglected was because I didn't fit their plan of a perfect family. They had a plan for my brother and sisters, and I wasn't, and in doing so, ruining their picture-perfect family that they envisioned. I've had a couple of days to think about it, and the more I do, the more I realize how narcissistic they are. Guess I never wanted to see it that way, but now that I do, I can't see it any other way. Plan on going low contact for now. Need to figure out just what part, if any, my life needs to be involved with them. Thank you for the comment and kind words. And now, on to the final update. Well, I finally had a talk with my mum and dad yesterday after work. I told them the amount of disrespect and dismissiveness I've received from them and the rest of the family will no longer be acceptable. That for years, I've put up with the mental and emotional abuse from them, thinking that this is what family was. However, after spending time with my girlfriend's family, I realized how toxic they are. Of course, my mum tried to gaslight me into saying that I was overreacting and making things sound worse than they actually were, so I pointed out time after time how they disregarded me, made me feel unwanted and forgotten. How I was always treated as an afterthought because I didn't fit into their perfect family picture. Christmas being a prime example. I told them, at least for the foreseeable future, that I won't be coming to any family-related events, and I'll call them, don't call me. That I deserved better, that I deserved more than what they've been giving me. I pointed out how she got upset that I was having a good time with someone else's family, which proves my point. Maybe in time we can try to rebuild some kind of relationship, but for now, I'm walking away and putting myself first for once. My dad nodded his head, understanding, I think for the first time, how they've treated me. My mum started crying and I had to walk away, and it was clearly a guilt trip. I also texted my brothers and sisters as to keep mum from manipulating what was said. The older two think that I'm being petty and overreacting as well, but I expected as much. But my youngest sister, my niece's mum, seems to understand and said that I was still welcome to see them if I wanted. Outside of that, not much else. I've been invited to Easter dinner by my girlfriend and her family, so I'm looking forward to that. I know it's a ways off, but it's nice to know that I apparently made a good impression that they've invited me back. Thanks again for all of the comments. It really helped me. In the comments, Cute Detective says, it sounds like you're taking healthy steps forward and facing the issues head on. Good for you. Just know that we are rooting for you and hope for happiness and clarity and ultimately, peace. I never rooted for a couple as much as I'm rooting for yours. Seriously, I was an oops baby, but I got treated as well as my other brothers and sisters. Maybe even better because I was the baby of the family. I'm sorry your family sucks. On a more joyous note, we make our own family. It doesn't have to be blood. It can be friends, cousins, girlfriend, pets, whomever. Seriously, 2 dead plants would seem to make better parents than yours. Sorry for being harsh on them, it just blows my mind. Anyway, take care of yourself. You deserve it. Sending lots of hugs your way, and hugs for your girlfriend and her family too. Yeah, I think at this point you just go completely low contact with everyone besides your younger sister. She's the only one that understands. If she wants to, she can try and get everyone else to understand that they're being narcissistic dickheads, but doesn't sound like that is possible at this point. Well, that's just life sometimes. It is what it is. Keep those that you love close and keep those that you don't love not close. Thank you for the story, OP. That was amazing, and I hope everything goes well going forward. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.